Welcome to Walk in the Park. My name is Tony Ingram, your host, and today is the 21st of January. This is being recorded on, and it is our episode 96 of Walk in the Park. So if you want to see more of our episodes or see this one online, you can go to our vid blog, walkinpark.com, and find everything there for the last couple of years we've been doing this show. Well, it has been a cold January so far. Most would agree, and our landscape has been responding. So let's go take a look at Ithaca Falls, little park in downtown Ithaca, one of the biggest falls in the state, and see what's been happening. Went over there last week, and this is sort of the drive-by view on Lake Street, and you can get out and take a picture from the bridge, but a little zoomed in from there. Look at the ice on that cliff, and a little bit closer in. Wow, it's really a cliff of ice, more than a waterfall, but there's a path you can walk down in there. But look at the path. The path is covered with ice because the ice in the stream has blocked a lot of the water flowing down the creek, even though it hasn't been a thaw, and has pushed it out over the path. So you might want to wear your creepers if you go in there. Sometimes they even close it off when it gets too bad. Anyway, a little bit closer, you can see where the waterfall is flowing on the cliff. Some view through the trees, obviously, and then finally you emerge into sort of this spray area where you can see the grandeur of the 150-foot high Ithaca Falls. So we're going to actually take a look at the falls. We're going to take a look at the falls in video. I made a little park minute video. So let's go to that. January closes its icy fingers around Fall Creek at Ithaca Falls in Ithaca, New York. Ice in the creek has forced frigid water onto the short path to the falls. Ithaca Falls is becoming a 150 feet high wall of ice. Okay, so amazing ice scenery out there. I'm sure the other waterfalls are like Teganic Falls and Buttermilk Falls, Lucifer Falls and Upper Treman also are amazing sights. So you may want to check that out as soon as you can before we have a thaw. Actually, thaws can be pretty dramatic as well, of course, when you get all that ice. So also this week, we have had Martin Luther King Day. So there are things obviously going on nationally, but also locally. This is actually the Martin Luther King statue, which is a sculpture, which is in the, right now it's in DeWitt Park, but it used to be on the west end of the Commons. And at Beverly J. Martin School, they had their annual Martin Luther King Day luncheon, which my wife and I went to. And that was a wonderful event. And I have actually a little video from that day with just a short excerpt from it. It was a couple of hours, amazing, moving speeches and a real sense of community and togetherness and coming together into unity. But I have a little clip here of a song sung by John Simon and Cal Walker, who are depicted here. There's Simon and Cal Funkel. They go around to schools. It's part of the Family Reading Partnership, and it's the Read Along Songs program uses rhyming and rhythm to connect children and families with the joy of words and books, inviting families to literacy through music. Children in low-income-based preschool programs receive a bright red book bag filled with 6 beautiful books and a CD of the books being both read aloud and sung. The same set of books and CD is also given to classroom teachers in preschool, kindergarten, and first grade so that children see and hear the set in both school and home. 2007, a committee of early education professionals from various agencies, including as well as local singer-songwriter John Simon and Village at Ithaca Executive Director Cal Walker, he certainly was in, carefully chose 6 different children's books that were also favorite playground tunes or remakes of old bedtime songs to be part of the program. And they produced a CD with the 2 of them singing them and reading the books in their rich animated voices. Okay, so Simon and Cal Funkel. Unfortunately, Cal Walker was had some health issues and was not able to attend the luncheon and be part of the singing. So we're gonna just go. John Simon is gonna sing for us.
A new statue of Martin Luther.
Sorry about that. I got my videos mixed up here. That'll come in a minute.
Celebration, because books and writing and reading were so important to Dr. King. So this is one that's very participatory. My friend Cal Walker, along with having one of the biggest hearts and the deepest wells of energy and encouragement for the world he lives in, is a master of hand motions. And so he makes up hand motions that are really believable. He made these up for this one called Word by Word. He pretends there's a big page in front of him, and he takes out his pointer finger. Will you please take out your pointing fingers? Thank you. And he just points to the words on the page and says, word by word, line by line, reading opens up your mind. Turn the page and you will find you can be most anywhere. Line by line, page by page. Now point to different people. Books are good at any age. Grab a book, it's all the rage. You can read them anywhere. That's how it goes. And if you sing in whatever key works for you, and whatever hand motions work for you, this will be a beautiful thing. Are you ready? Okay, are you really ready? Okay. Yeah, usually about this time on a school day, they're getting ready to go home. Here we go, ready? Word by word, word by word, line by line, point your brain, reading opens up your mind. Turn the page and you will find you can be most anywhere. Line by line, line by line, page by page, point to people. Books are good at any age. Grab a book, it's all the rage. You can read them anywhere. Let's do it one more time. Point word by word, line by line, point your brain. Reading opens up your mind. Turn the page and you will find you can be most anywhere. Line by line, line by line, page by page, point to people. Books are good at any age. Grab a book, it's all the rage. You can read them anywhere. Grab a book again. Grab a book, it's all the rage. You can read them anywhere. Thank you.
Okay. So that was just one of the many things that went on. There were other music events and some really great speakers. Actually, you probably noticed there were some kids there who had actually participated in the read-along songs of the Family Reading Partnership program that were in the audience that came up and joined John singing that. Well, the statue, we'll get back to the, I should call it sculpture, which is over in DeWitt Park now, was a program. Let's see, Martin Luther King first visited Ithaca as a guest at Cornell University in 1960, and he delivered a sermon to a standing room only crowd at Sage Chapel at Cornell, and answering questions in the memorial room at Willard Straight Hall. In '61, he returned to speak at a fundraiser at Bailey Hall. It was sponsored by the Cornell Committee Against Segregation and the Ithaca Freedom Walk. 48 years after his second visit in 2009, the City of Ithaca Freedom Walkway Committee embarked on the development of a physical Martin Luther King Freedom Walkway in the city of Ithaca. The walkway is a physical trail celebrating the life and legacy of Dr. King in the context of Ithaca's African American history. So, let's see. It traces local events and people whose efforts mirror the national struggle for civil rights and social justice. 2 walking loops are planned, each of which will link local history with the national stage and include such topics as the freedom seekers, the abolitionist movement, emancipation, the civil rights movement, and the rich social and cultural life of Ithaca's African American community. The self-guided tours for each loop will include written material and audio interpretive aids, supported by pieces of permanent public art installed along the tour route. A common design vocabulary will be used for these materials so that the 2 loops, though physically distant, are visually unified. The sculpture, wait a minute, lost my place here. The sculpture of Martin Luther King Jr., located in the western end of downtown Ithaca Commons and now in DeWitt Park for temporarily until the Commons is fixed, will serve as a central link between the 2 loops of the walkway. So I'm going to just show you a very brief video that was done about a year and a half ago by Time Warner Cable News about the walkway.
A new statue of Martin Luther King Jr. now stands on the Ithaca Commons. The statue, which was unveiled Friday, faces Martin Luther King Jr. Street, which was renamed from State Street 3 years ago. Sculpted by local artist Rob Light, it's the latest addition to the Martin Luther King Freedom Walkway, a trail through Ithaca commemorating places, people, and events related to the national struggle for civil rights. It was funded by private donations.
Okay, so let's go to California. This is Yosemite National Park, one of our most famous and most visited national parks, and actually, in a way, our first, in a way. It was technically Yellowstone National Park was our first, but this is a classic view of Yosemite Valley, and on the left, that big cliff is, you have probably heard of it recently, El Capitan, which is a 3,000-foot cliff and one of the hardest rock climbs in the world, said to be the largest single piece of granite in the world is El Capitan. I was there last summer. I took this picture, and I also took a few other pictures there for about a week, and I had a wonderful time. So I took a number of pictures of El Capitan, and there was some climbers on it this month, last month and into this month, that did an amazing feat. But so I've taken various shots around El Capitan. And this particular picture, I don't think I took this one. Someone else took this. But this shows what they call the dawn wall, and that is actually in the morning, and it's a straight up wall of rock that is one of those challenging routes, and it was climbed successfully for the first time by a guy from Colorado, Tommy Caldwell, and Kevin Jorgensen. Well, I won't say it hasn't been climbed before. It's been climbed, but it's been climbed without technical assistance other than a safety rope. So they basically what they call free climbing. Not that they don't have a safety rope, but they don't use any other equipment to assist their ascent of the wall, other than climbing your own fingers and feet to climb up these incredibly thin little ledges that are maybe as wide as your fingernail or something. But so anyway, the okay, let's get some other pictures of this. I think this is a picture I took in the late afternoon of that same wall. So they took, I don't know, about 3 weeks to do 2-3 weeks to do this, to climb up this, and they can't. As you can see they have a sleeping platform which they actually hang from the wall, and there it is. So here's another picture of the wall that when I took out there, and people were out in this field down below watching the climbers. And if this picture here, I actually took a picture of a climber. I had a handheld camera, so we'll zoom in on it. Right in the very center of the picture, you might see a little blue dot. I had to blow this up on my computer because I didn't have a tripod to steady the shot. But that is a climber about to spend the night on his way up the cliff. But so anyway, that's much celebrated in the news. Here's a shot from the National Park Service, actually Department of Interior, National Park Service, yeah. In El Capitan, glows at sunset, and the effect is known as alpenglow, and it commonly occurs in Yosemite during the winter months. So I've seen that lots in the mountains, in other mountains, but in the winter so it's very beautiful. So an amazing feat. In fact, it was so amazing that President Obama honored them. I think he gave them a phone call, talked to them, and he's standing in front of this picture of Yosemite Valley that was painted by the artist Thomas Hill. And I think this particular one was painted in 1895. Here's one that's painted in 1865 he did. He's what they called a Hudson River School artist, although he painted mostly California and the White Mountains of New Hampshire. And he did spend time with the Hudson River School was a loose association of painters in the 19th century who discovered the glories of landscape painting, idealistic landscape painting. And their work actually led to the celebration of places like Yosemite that became national parks. Their paintings actually inspired others to save the places, even if they hadn't been there. So that's, let's see, that picture was, it's called Bridal Veil Falls. You can see on the right is that waterfall, Bridal Veil Falls, and it's currently in the White House. So that was in his inauguration. Here's a shot of the valley I took from near the same spot last summer. And here's the guy that painted it, Thomas Hill. And he, as I said, he painted in different places, but in the latter part of his life, he lived at this hotel, which is in the southern part of the park, Wawona Hotel. He was kind of a, the owners of the hotel were basically patrons of his and others. And he had a little studio, Hill Studio, which is a National Park Service site there. And there's folks in there that'll show you his work, and they have studio rooms and so forth, and some interpretive panels. This one says, Inspiring Preservation, the Art of Thomas Hill, along with other accomplished artists of his time, including Albert Bierstadt and Thomas Moran. Thomas Hill's large-scale oil paintings of Yosemite captured the attention of people across America, visually introducing them to the magnificence of Yosemite. The works of these artists played a major role in the preservation of America's first national parks. So very cool. Here's another panel in there. Let's see. Oh yeah, there was something else that said up here. The Yosemite's natural beauty inspires people around the world to create art. Famed landscape artist Thomas Hill lived and worked at the Wawona Hotel from 1884 until his death in 1908. Built in the 1880s, this studio served as a gathering place for Yosemite visitors, many of whom purchased his fine paintings. So that was a very fun place to visit. I've gotten more interested in the Hudson River School painting. Let's see. Here is another panel here about the inauguration. That this was actually this painting was highlighted at President Obama's inauguration because in 1864, 150 years ago, the President Lincoln, during the Civil War, established the Yosemite Grant, which eventually resulted in Yosemite National Park. But it became the first state park and the first federal land set aside as a park in the United States and maybe the world for the public for perpetuity. In 1890, John Muir was instrumental in creating the national park. And this is, let's see, yeah, this picture has been posted by the National Park Service on January 6th, showing Theodore Roosevelt. We have fallen heirs to the most glorious heritage a people ever received, and each one must do his part if we wish to show that the nation is worthy of its good fortune. On this day in 1919, we lost our conservationist president when Theodore Roosevelt died in New York at the age of 60. Well, he was out there being hosted by John Muir, and that resulted in the creation of the national park. So, pretty cool. Our conservation president. We've had more than one, but he was the first and one of the most effective. So we're running down on time here. The national parks, well, parks of all sorts, all around the country, like to put up their photographs for people to see now that there's things like Facebook. They have their Facebook pages, so they put up amazing photographs that either their staff has taken or others have taken. I like to go. I actually have I have several Facebook pages, but one of them is called Walk in the Park. And I like to go to these different sites, and I share some of the pictures, like this one from Arches National Park, which is the caption was "An ancient world frozen in time." Those look like sandstone hoodoos or something there. They're almost like moguls. And in the back are I think those are the La Salle Mountains, a winter picture. So these are all January 10th. This went up, so they're showing us winter pictures. This was posted by actually EcoJustice, and it was posted on actually it's posted on July 14th, so this is just another picture I wanted to put in, a different take on things. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, then this picture is worth many thousands of bison. This photo from the 1870s shows a man proudly standing in front of a mountain of tens of thousands of bison skulls, an iconic American species that was systematically slaughtered by the millions as European Americans settled the West. The U.S. Army actively endorsed the wholesale slaughter of these animals for two main reasons: to remove any competition with cattle and to starve Native American tribes who greatly depended on the bison for food. Without the bison, the resisting tribes of the Great Plains would either be forced to leave or die of starvation. More than a century after this dark period in our history, the bison is making a comeback. But bison outside of places like Yosemite National Park, or Yellowstone National Park, I should say, still are at risk. Well, we're pretty much done here now. This is a parting picture of Chiricahua National Monument in southeast Arizona, which I went to a number of years ago. Amazing place. But we have to wrap it up here, so thank you for joining me.